with renowned speakers from various fields. Along with these, different online competitions and social activities were conducted for students and staff of PDA at institute and parent organization level. On behalf of Pune District Education Association, SJRS College of Pharmacy and Polytechnic Saswad, I warmly welcome with great joy and honor Honorable Rajendra Ghadge Sir, Vice President of Pune District Education Association Pune, Chief Guest of today's inaugural function, Honorable Advocate Shri Sandeep Kadam Sir, Honorary Secretary, Pune District Education Association Pune, and Senate Member of Savitribai Phule Pune University Pune. Honorable Mohan Rao Deshmukh Sir, Treasurer, Pune District Education Association. Honorable L.M. Pawar Sir, Deputy Secretary, Pune District Education Association. Honorable A.M. Zadhav Sir, Assistant Secretary, Administration, Pune District Education Association. Dr. Anand Paradkar Sir, Professor and Director, Innovations and Center for Engineering Science, School of Pharmacy, University of Bradford, UK. Dr. Umesh Bankar Sir, Professor of Pharmaceutics, Independent Consultant and Advisor, USA. Respected Principal Dr. Rajashri Chavan Madam, Vice Principal Dr. Smita Pawar Madam, Principals and HODs of all junior, senior and professional colleges, teachers, delegates from all over the world, few of them from UK, USA and China, and dear students present for today's international webinar and e-poster presentation competition held on tomorrow. In order to keep in a pace with the tremendous growth in the pharma field, we academicians are bound to keep ourselves updated every now and then with advanced techniques and knowledge. Realizing this urge of time, our institute is keen to organize state, national, and international level seminars, workshops, and conferences on advanced topics in different subjects. Intellectual property rights are the rights given to persons over the creations of their minds, inventions, literacy, artistic works, symbols, names, and images used in commerce. They usually give the creator an exclusive right over the use of their creation for a certain period of time. The progress and well being of humanity rest on its capacity to create and invent new works in the areas of technology and culture. It is to encourage innovation and provide incentives for innovation by granting temporary protection to invention. As we all know that year 2020 is still uncertain due to COVID-19 and the impact it is having on the global economy, innovators are still filing patents and trademarks. The IPR professionals, firms, and official organizations around the world are applying new efficiencies and updated to constantly improve the filing process, getting it from technology, automation, and communication. Hence, the ultimate goal of this program is to cover various aspects of IPR relevant to researchers, scientists, business planners, academicians, and other stakeholders to enhance economic growth and consumer welfare. The prime objectives of this international E-Symposium on emerging trends in IPR are to discuss the legislative framework of laws relating to intellectual property protection, to discuss about the role of judiciary in providing safeguards for the protection of IPR, and to find out intellectual property challenges in the field of pharmaceuticals and solutions for the same. As we know that the great line said by Dr. C.V. Raman, the real growth of a country is in the hearts, minds, bodies, and the souls of young men and women of the country. With this vision to promote youth engaged in the IPR, we have also organized International E-Poster Presentation Competition tomorrow. I am sure that all participants will enjoy these thought-provoking sessions. The knowledge and information gained here in this e-symposium will surely help to add on an aspect on IPR. Once again, on behalf of Pune District Education Association and Pune District Education Association's SJRS College of Pharmacy and Polytechnic Saswad, I warmly welcome you all for these 2 days International E-Symposium on Emerging Trends in IPR. Now, I would like to call upon the captain of SJRS, who doesn't need any introduction and known among all of us for her wisdom and knowledge, our honorable principal, Dr. Rajeshri Chavan Madam, to deliver preamble of International E-Symposium. Respected Dr. Rajeshri Chavan Madam.
Thank you, madam. Namaste and very good afternoon to one and all here in India, and a very good morning to Dr. Anand Paradkar in UK and Dr. Umesh Bankar in USA. My heartfelt greetings to the respected office bearers of Pune District Education Association, Pune, President Honorable Shri Ajit Dada Pawar Sahib, Deputy Chief Minister Government of Maharashtra, Vice President Honorable Shri Rajendra Ji Ghadge sir, Honorary Secretary and Member of Senate, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, and today's chief guest of inaugural function, Honorable Advocate Shri Sandeep Ji Kadam sir, Treasurer Honorable Advocate Mohan Rao Ji Deshmukh sir, Deputy Secretary Honorable Shri L.M. Pawar sir, and Joint Secretary Honorable Shri A.M. Jadhav sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to extend a very warm and hearty welcome to all the respected dignitaries, PDA office bearers, our today's resource persons, Dr. Anand Paradkar, Professor in Pharmaceutics, University of Bradford, UK, and Dr. Umesh Bankar, Professor and Independent and Renowned Consultant, IPR, USA. All the panelists, principals of the colleges, professors, research scholars, PG students, my colleagues, dear students, and delegates. In this 2 days international symposium on emerging trends in IPR, which is being held on 29th and 30th of December in our college. I am glad to mention here that we have organized this event on the occasion of 80th birthday of our beloved leader, the leader of masses, our true inspiration, a great icon in Indian politics, ex-agriculture minister, Government of India, Padma Vibhushan, Honorable Shri Rajendraji Pawar Sahib on 12th December. Unrelenting at 80, the war horse from Baramati has proven that his brand of politics is capable of finding resonance in the grassroots. He is a legend who has contributed and conquered in the enormous arenas, may it be politics, social service, economy, business, industry, cooperation, agriculture, sports, cultural activities, and so on and so forth. His political journey has been very, very incredible. His pioneering work is the vital key in the farmers' welfare and agricultural transformation of Maharashtra state. He is a strong believer of science and technology and its impact on technological growth of our country. Pawar Sahib is the powerhouse and pride of not only Maharashtra but also India. I wish him a great success, good health, and lots of happiness on the occasion of his birthday. We deem ourselves to be very fortunate to get an opportunity to work under the guidance of such a veteran and influential leader, Honorable Sri Sharat Chandraji Pawar Sahib, and under the visionary leadership of Honorable Sri Ajit Dada Pawar Sahib, Deputy Chief Minister, Government of Maharashtra. In order to express our love, respect, and gratitude towards him, we have arranged this international e-symposium on the topic of global interest, that is, emerging trends in IPR. How rightly it is said that no power on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. Intellectual property protection is critical to fostering innovation. Without protection of ideas, businesses and individuals would not reap the full benefits of their inventions and would focus less on research and development. New types of intellectual property rights are on the rise. For example, data exclusivity, orphan drug exclusivity, standard essential patents, etc. India lags behind in several of these emerging trends, partly because of the lack of legislature in several issues and partly because of its mixed priorities. The legal framework needs to substantiate these issues more coherently while maintaining India's pro public benefit approach towards IP. Though India had aligned its rule in accordance to TRIPS in the year 2005, still there are many challenges and issues that needs to be addressed to maximize the benefits. Thus, getting and granting IP rights in India has become a matter of contention since 2005, and various stakeholders are interested in knowing how India addressed these issues. Some of the highlighted issues that are facing negligence regarding implementation for a long time are insufficiency of regulations, lack of awareness and respect for IPRs and access rules, and lack of efficient application or control of these regulations. There is an extensive international system for defining, protecting, and enforcing intellectual property rights, comprising both multilateral treaty schemes and international organizations. Nonetheless, there are variations in respect for and an enforcement of rights at a local level. Above all, we all know that COVID-19 pandemic that has hit the world like lightning unless you have been under living under a giant rock. Since everything is being affected by this, the legal field is also getting equally affected. The pandemic has also had a significant impact in IP world. Currently, one point agenda for research is developing a cure or vaccine for COVID-19. All the researchers and research-based organizations are single-handedly focused on COVID-19's cure, thus affecting all other research and development processes. Other ongoing researches have either slowed down or have been put to at a halt. Considering many such issues and challenges, we have convened this gathering of aspirants, research scholars, and other stakeholders at global level in the form of International E-Symposium, wherein the experts in the field will highlight on certain aspects of IPR and latest updates in the field. Looking at their tremendous contribution, great expertise, and vast experience in the field of IPR, we just could not think of other persons than a very versatile and dynamic personality, Dr. Anand Paradkar, professor in pharmaceutics, University of Bradford, UK, and a great veteran and stalwart in the field, Dr. Umesh Bankar, professor in pharmaceutics and independent consultant IPR USA, to be the resource person for this international e-symposium. I have to say that both of these are real gems in the field of education and very soft spoken and down to earth personalities. I express my heartfelt reverence and sincere gratitude towards them from the bottom of my heart for their kind gestures of accepting our invitations and being part of this event. I am thankful to all the delegates from all over the world who have registered and are here to attend the symposium. I assure you all that it will be definitely an intellectual treat for all of you. I anticipate the active participation of the delegates in the forthcoming sessions. As a part of this symposium, we have also arranged e-poster presentation competition for the aspirants to present their knowledge, ideas, thoughts on IPR tomorrow. I am happy to share that we have received an overwhelming response for this competition. I hope it will serve as an appropriate platform to explore your potentials and skills. We have invited two experts as evaluators for this competition. Dr. Josna Madan, Professor SKN's College of Pharmacy, Kondwa, Pune, and Mr. Mahesh Jadhav, Founder, IP Intellect Services. I'm also thankful to them for accepting our invitation and assenting for this trying and challenging task. I also appreciate all the participants of the competitions and wish them good luck for the same. The first three winners of the competition will be felicitated with the cash prizes and certificates. I'm grateful to all PDA office bearers, all the respected dignitaries, principals, professors, research scholars, and PG students for being part of this event. I must appreciate and congratulate the coordinators, Mrs. Pradnya Jagtap and Mrs. Deepali Jagtap, for their painstaking efforts and hard work to initiate, frame, and accomplish this endeavor. It would be unfair if I forget to mention the never-ending efforts put in by e-poster presentation coordinating committee, Dr. Smita Pawar, Mrs. Vishakha Gaikwad, and Mr. Sagar Bise, who are working day in, day out for smooth conduct of this competition since the inception of the thought. Thanks are also due to the technical support team, Mr. Bhagat and Mr. Shivte. Thank you all once again and have a great day ahead. Also, I wish a very happy new year to all in advance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, madam, for giving your valuable insights on the International E-Symposium on Emerging Trends in IPR. Once again, thank you very much, madam. Now, I would like to invite dynamic personality who is always having innovative thoughts for betterment and overall development of entire crew of PDA, Honorable Advocate Shri Sandeep Kadam Sir, Honorable Secretary of Pune District Education Association Pune and Senate Member of Savitribai Phule Pune University Pune to address today's International E-Symposium. Honorable Advocate Shri Sandeep Kadam Sir.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, all. Today we have gathered here for the inaugural function of the 2 days International E-Symposium of the Emerging Trade in IPR, organized by the PDS at Govind Raghunath Sabre College Pharmacy at Saswat on the occasions of 18th birthday of our strength, our support, our idol, our great visionary leaders, former agriculture ministers, and the former defense ministers, government of Honorable Sri Sharad Chandraji Pawar Sahib. I wish to PDA, all the panelists, principal of the PDA and other colleges, staff, research scholars, as well as the student, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am also to welcome the chief guest and the keynote speaker, Dr. Ananta Paradkar, who come from the University of the Brantford, UK, Dr. Umesh Bankar, professor in pharmaceuticals and independent consultant IPR from USA, Dr. Josna Madan, professor of the Sinhagad College, Mr. Mahesh Jadhav, founder IP Intellectual Service as the expert and resource person in this function. Pune District Education Association is means PDA. Is a pioneering organization contributing district, especially in rural area since 1941. PDA is a proud recipient of the awards Others Shikshan Mandals from the government of Maharashtra. Presently, the total 164 educational institutes are working under the PDA. Near about the 95,000 students are studying in PDA and near about the 4,000 teaching and non-teaching staffs members are working in the PDA. Apart from the basic, the school education, PDA is also keen to provide the quality and the professional educations to the student in the various streams such as the Ayurveda, pharmacy, engineering, architecture, law and management. Since many years on the occasions of the birthday of Padma Shri Honorable Pawar Sahib, the various activity such as the social, culture and sports activities are organized by the PDA for the encourage the young sportsmen and the provide the platform to the explore to showcase the hidden the talent in the student. The activity aims to spread the social message like save girls, save child, green environment, health and hygiene. However, this year, due to the crisis of the COVID-19, this activity could not be conducted by the PDA physically. However, we have organized the various activity platform. This activity includes Surya Namaskar, cycling, walking, easy competition, e-posters competitions, Avishkar competitions, drawing competitions, writing, singing, e-contents competition, etc. Also, the PDA has organized a series of thought-provoking the lecture by the eminent speakers in the different field on the various current significant topic for the student and the staff through the Zoom in the 12 December to the 14 December. Or the upgradation of knowledge and the quality education. The participants of competitions will offer the certificate of the participations and the winners are the facilitated with the prize. This 2 days International E-Symposium is one among those activities arranged on the through the e-poster presentation competitions. I am happy to see such as awesome the response and the participation by all the delegates from all over the world. In the modern world, intellectual property rights have a significant influence on the international trade and the indigenous trade of the every nations. With the advent on the digitalizations, there are the high chance to create idea being the stolen by any third party without any prior permissions. The importance of the intellectual property protection fluence in the different part of the world, almost the every country which the depend on the to protect their intellectual property rights. Strong IP law makes the huge contribution to both the overall economy of the country and their the respective state. The effect of the COVID-19 pandemic have been felt worldwide across all the business sector. The pandemic is also leaving the impact on the protection of existing the intellectual property rights and on the IPR in the process of the acquiring the protections. Thus, I must say that the selections of the topic of this technology as the emerging trade of IPR the very much adopt since the expert in this field, Dr. Padalkar and Dr. Bankar will highlight on the current scenario as well as they can enlighten us to the certain vital aspect in the field. I thank both the speaker as well as the evaluator of the e-posters presentation competitions, Dr. Madan and Dr. Jadhav on behalf of the PDA. I congratulate the team of SGRS for these great ventures and convey my best wishes for this function. I hereby international conference on the emerging the trade in IPR. Thank you and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you,
for
sir.
your very thought-provoking and motivational address. We always feel proud to be a part of the PDA. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead onwards, I would like to offer vote of thanks for the formal inauguration of International E-Symposium on Emerging Trends in IPR. First of all, I would like to give my hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Honorable Advocate Shri Sandeep Kadam, sir, for gracing today's program. Thank you, sir. Your thought-provoking address set a perfect platform for our speakers to deliver their presentations in the areas of the IPR. Thank you once again, one and all, for being with us for the inauguration of E-Symposium. I would like to conclude that the inaugural function of International E-Symposium on Emerging Trends in IPR is over. Once again, thank you, one and all. Thank you so much. Let's now move on to the most awaited part of the event, that is lectures by our resource persons. Dr. Anand Paradkar sir would guide us on management support for innovations and commercialization in colleges. May I now request Professor Amol Kale sir to introduce Dr. Anand Paradkar sir. Professor Amol Kale sir.
Thank you, Dipali madam. Good afternoon, one and all. I, Mr. Amol Kale, Assistant Professor in Medicinal Chemistry, delighted to introduce a distinguished personality in pharma field, a great researcher, renowned academician, Dr. Anant Paradkar sir. Dr. Anant sir has completed his pharmacy education and worked in India for around 20 years in academics at Nagpur College of Pharmacy and Bharati Vidyapith, Pune College of Pharmacy. In 2008, he joined University of Bradford. His major research interests are interdisciplinary approaches to enhance understanding in crystal and particle engineering and product and process innovation. He has more than 175 peer-reviewed research papers to his credit. He supervised more than 40 PhD students and generated more than 4 million euro from various funding agencies and companies. Dr. Anant sir works very closely with companies in the nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, and medical device sectors. With this, I call upon Professor and Director, Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science, University of Bradford, Dr. Anant Paradkar sir, to enlighten the audience on management support for innovations and commercializations in colleges. So, Dr. Anant Paradkar sir.
सरांचा आवाज म्यूट आहे.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you. Let me share the screen. 1 minute. Oh, I think you need to enable my screen sharing.
Please help him.
Okay, till the screen sharing option is activated, let me start my presentation without PowerPoint. First and most important, I'm very thankful to SGRS Saswad, PDEA especially, for providing me this opportunity to share my work, some of the work which I'm doing at Bradford, and mainly my thoughts about how Indian institutions, especially as the private institutions, private managements, private colleges are make major part of Indian education and professional education, how they are going to contribute in the knowledge economy. And they are contributing, and where we can do better, that I would like to share in the area of innovation and commercialization. Has it been activated? Sorry.
मीटिंग मध्येच विचारा ना.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Actually, BC sir is not having your PPTs as you said yesterday. So
no,
since
now it has been
since
activated.
you have it,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
So topic for today's workshop, which is management support for innovation and commercialization. It is very important, and from current economic conditions, especially for India, globally as well as India, because India has huge potential, which is going to be untapped, which is untapped till now, but there is huge potential which we can work, and the private institutions, managements like PDA, Bharti, Sinhagad can contribute in a big way. That is what I imagined, and that's why I selected the topic management support for innovation and commercialization in the colleges rather than only universities, because we have affiliated colleges, number of affiliated colleges, and they contribute significantly. This can contribute significantly in this area. The most important thing why I'm highly delighted with this opportunity, because my first innovation, I received blessings of Pawar Sahib. With my journey in the innovation started with Pawar Sahib's blessings, his vision. It was very minor, small contact which I had with him, maybe few minutes, but it changed. It gave me opportunity to understand how visionary leader he is. So this is in 2004, really in my MSc M-Pharm, not MSc M-Pharm, I developed some softwares in BASIC, and those were the softwares for statistics, pharmacokinetics. And after that, but BASIC had one limitation, that there was no backend storage for that. So there were challenges in executing the programs completely. Afterwards, my two PhD students, Anand Ketkar and Vinay Patil, they worked with me, and we developed a full package, which is PCP DISO. And just in 2004, we had IPC in Pune, and a week before we were discussing that we should release it and make some commercial success out of this, though it will be a very small. We asked for permission from Kadam sir, and he granted immediately. He was a motivation, my main motivation. And we thought that if we can get opportunity to release it at the auspicious hands of Pawar Sahib, that will be great. And it was my dream that if I can, Pawar Sahib can release this. We could not release it in the main program because of the chaos, which was because the number was unprecedented that time. But luckily, we could catch Pawar Sahib on his visit to the stalls, and he was very kind, and he released our software. This was the moment for me. And I was taking photograph, and later on I met him, and I can't express how the moment was. So this is just so my start of my journey. I started with the blessings of Pawar Sahib. So now where do I work? So now I work for last 12 years. I'm at Bradford. This is our small university, University of Bradford. This main building which you can see here is our major main undergraduate and administrative building. And a building across this this is Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering. This building really is, previously it was known as Institute of Pharmaceutical Innovations. When I started here, now it is Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering. So I was very lucky, always been lucky to work at Bharati. Always I worked with the great leaders. When I came to Bradford, I had opportunity, or rather I came because of the great leader in science and mainly innovation, Professor Peter York. Professor Peter York met me once in one conference, and I asked him, can I come down? And he kindly allowed me to come down as a postdoc. I came here in 2003. And after that, in 2008, university appointed me as professor. But he is again a great visionary. professor and very kind person, very kind person. This is so Peter York with his PhD student, he was his PhD student Hannah. They developed one particle engineering technology, which is supercritical fluid particle engineering. So this is the machine where drug is dissolved in carbon dioxide under pressure, and when pressure is released, what you get is precipitation of the particles. CO2 under pressure works as an organic fluid, similar to organic fluid, makes soluble all insoluble particles or lipophilic particles are dissolved, and those were precipitated out. This was the technology which Peter York used for pharmaceuticals for first time. And he started a company called Bradford Particle Design, a small company which was the first company started by School of Pharmacy in 1994. In 2001, the company was sold to Nectar Therapeutics for $220 million. This is till today, this is one of the biggest commercial success in the UK academics. University made huge money, academics made, but the local region was very happy that universities or academics are making, universities are contributing to the economy, and they supported construction of this new building, which is institute, which is our current office building. So it is Institute of Pharmaceutical Innovation, started in 2003. After 2008 financial crunch, universities also re-strategized their research programs, and it was decided that instead of spreading finances thinly across the university, it is better to focus it on areas with high potential or which are performing better. And Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering was developed, and I was lucky to get opportunity to lead this center. So for last 10 years, I'm leading this center, and it is one of the major successful centers in the university. Now, what is Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science? Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science is an interdisciplinary center. Why innovation is possible? Interdisciplinarity is the major highlight of our center. What we do, my job is to bring together chemists, physicists, engineers, clinicians, whenever required. So chemists and physicists, they help us in understanding structure of the material. Pharmaceutical scientists, we contribute from the performance and properties of the material from pharmaceutical as well as other sectors. And engineers, so this is another research center, which is interdisciplinary research center in engineering, polymer engineering. These scientists contribute to the processes, and we together develop new processes, new designs, new products. So base of all these is real blue sky research, high quality research, which is funded by government or it is funded by companies. And on the basis of that, we develop something which is useful, which makes impact for the patients, for the companies, or for environment. So achieving impact is one of the major things. Now, Dr. Jagtap gave very good introduction about IP and innovation. Now, when we think about innovation, or the idea is the main generation of idea is the main thing which is required. To do that, you need to have creative thinking. Creative thinking, now generally what we do is whenever we have, and here also many times this happens, whenever we think that, okay, we have to write a proposal, we need all pharmaceutics group people will sit together, or pharmacology will sit together, or pharmacognosists will sit together, or at the max, a group of pharmacy staff will sit together and discuss about the new research ideas. But really, for creative thinking, people thinking in the same way are really not the best approach to do that. You need interdisciplinarity. We need, unfortunately, due to some regulatory requirements of our regulatory authorities, we have limited number of basic science people in the pharmacy colleges. But the advantage in all managements, all private institutions, we have all types of colleges now. I was, when Kadam sir was telling, we have engineering, Ayurveda, pharmacy, management, everything on one campus or under same management. So the first thing which is required is, if we want to enhance creative thinking, we need to have, or we want innovation, the main thing in the innovation is we require interdisciplinarity. That is the basic thing which is required, and the Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science works on this. The innovations can be simple incremental innovation. For example, there is a fast release tablet and we will generate control release tablet. These type of innovations, so there is, everything is existing, there is slight change which we are doing. Mainly these type of innovations occur in the companies to great extent. But where academics can contribute more are breakthrough innovations. Breakthrough innovation, completely new type of medical device you have generated, a new digital platform has been developed, or a new crystal form or new molecule has been developed. Or it can be a radical innovation, like COVID vaccine is a radical innovation, completely changed. There was nothing, there was not existing service, and you have developed a product totally new. So, and academia can play major role in the breakthrough innovations and radical innovations. Said so, incremental innovations are also not bad to start with. At least we need to get somewhere we need to start at the moment. But the real challenge comes from microscope, from lab to the commercial plan, to the company levels, at scale, manufacturing scale up level. How it will, I can translate this. This is the major problem for academics. Academics, there are, and I'm sure all of you, all of the academics and the young researchers, we face main problem that I have done this. How can I translate to the company level or commercial level? And for this, we need a lot of support. One, we have to remember one thing which, and I did not realize this in my initial days of my career, that I cannot do everything and I should not do. I'm not the best person. Where am I best? Maybe I will be good at innovation. I can think, I can develop something in the lab. But am I the best person to go to company and speak? May not be. Do I have understanding about IP and protections? May not be. So, but we need to be able to discuss or speak the language of in all these areas. So universities, managements, colleges need to develop some support system for the academics. Academics have, unless this support system is around them, it is not possible to achieve the commercial success in a given time. And this is where most of our academic systems fail. That is lack of innovation and research support offices or support systems available. And this is expensive part. Maintaining research and innovation support is expensive for a college. And it is not because we do not have that much core capacity or expertise requirement. But at the management level, for example, for PDA to develop one research and innovation support office is possible. And at university we have, now for example, I will show you, This is my core group of staff, academic members. There are many others, but so Dr. Adrian Kelly is a chemical engineer. Professor Adrian Kelly, he works with me. Dr. Christoph Paluch, Venu Vangala. Venu Vangala is a pure chemist. Adrian is chemical engineer. Christoph Paluch and Mohammad Isreib, they are pharmacists. So Christoph has more of a pharmacist. So we work together, discuss on the issues. But along with that, you require young brains and hands in the lab also. So this is my powerhouse, my postdoctoral researcher team, Dr. Sudhir Pagire, Sachin Korde, and Mohammad Bashir Al-Siravan. So now Sudhir has left and he has joined the company. But these are the people who are going to do actual work on the innovation. They drive your innovation further. I cannot drive for daily on daily basis. Dr. Jason Jones is my commercial manager. His job is to liaise with companies, bring companies in, find out the businesses for us. And Dr. Russell Hodgett and Kiran are my IP support, IP and commercialization, as well as legal support. Mainly legal and contractual support is something which is missing in the universities for dealing with the companies. Apart from this, what you need is funding support, and we'll discuss around that later. So at Bradford, I'm very lucky at Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science that we work on different innovations, different technologies, and many of those technologies have been, or innovations have been funded by government as for the next journey. Some of those I will discuss here, but one of that I am going to focus more today. What happens when we do research? We do a lot of research and take technology to certain level. I can say we will develop a tablet, and I have shown that it achieves zero order release, control release is as per requirement, it is fulfilling. But to take it to commercial, I require a lot of support. And at that point, really, that is called as a valley of death. I need support from this point to this point. Somebody has to hold my hand. So there need to be some mentoring, there is funding, all, and commercialization support, which is if provided. And that for that you need entrepreneurs, companies on board. To fund these things, there are different funding agencies present here, but the structure of funding agencies is something again which is different in India and here. What happens, for example, Innovate UK is a funding agency, but I would like to focus on a lead city region funding. And this is something I can see Atmara Jadhav sir is here. So management representatives are here, and I would like to give this message to really the managements, and I know the PDA office bearers, how much opportunity with them is possible to change the local Pune Municipal Corporation, Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation structures, funding structure. So what happens is, if I have an idea, I will go to Bradford City Council. I will go to Leeds City Council, Leeds, which is a district type or county, major area in our region. And these companies, I will say, I have an idea. Can I get some small amount of funding so that I can develop this idea further? And the city regions fund these, provide small amount of funding. No doubt it is competitive. But why do they fund? They fund it because they want companies to be developed, innovation to be developed, economies should be built in the region, which really I missed in. So I never had any opportunity or idea that whether Pune Municipal Corporation can fund some. And this is the same model I have seen in China. In China also, each district, each province funds some amount with the opportunity, because there is competition between cities also. There are competitions between states, so as to retain the innovations developed by the colleges, universities in the region, in the to help the economy, local economy. So local economy can be strengthened with this support. In the same way, managements can provide small amount of fundings, labs, especially for development of initial development. Then there are special agencies like Innovate UK, similar to DST in India. They provide, so this is one scheme, Innovation to Commercialization of University Research. This is what this funding provides. This funding provides £35,000 to a young researcher in one of my postdoc, of which £20,000 is just £15,000 for his 3 months salary, and £20,000 to give, which gives him opportunity to go all over the world, interact with scientists, interact with mainly companies, and find out. So if I have developed an innovation, really does it have market? How much is the potential? Where should I use it? And in India, it is so simple because we have such huge population density. For example, if one innovation is developed in the pharma, can it be applied to the agriculture sector? You can discuss with the experts in agriculture. We are so well placed. For example, we have field trial opportunities, we have clinical trial opportunities, everything in a very small setup. So that expenditure here, we have to go far away to get the feedback, which is very, very well placed. We are well placed in India. The advantage for private managements compared to conventional universities is lack of bureaucratic hurdles. Private managements can provide less, allow the researchers to work without bureaucracy. So, and funding support, but bureaucracy is the main challenge which scientists come across while working in the conventional or state universities. Then there are other translational grants, other type of fundings which are available. One funding which is again interesting and important is knowledge transfer partnership. Knowledge transfer partnership works across companies and universities. Companies come out and say that we do not have this possibility, expertise to do something, and it can be from any sector. I receive companies from nutraceutical sector, detergent sector, and whichever company comes, I at least try to understand what is their problem. Then if that knowledge is available in the university, government funds 60% of the money, company pays 40% of the money, and we appoint a researcher who takes knowledge from the university and embeds that knowledge in the company. Main objective is how company can be benefited. It is not my research, research is not the primary aim. Primary aim is translate idea from university to the company and make contribution to the economy. And this has to be kept in mind for researchers as well as the companies. This is how system will change. And I can see there are huge opportunities, and there are many schemes I know currently working in India also. Now here I'm going to give you a very simple example how the innovation will transform from simple concept to scale up level now. Because it is pharmaceuticals, I'm presenting a case which is across pharma and Nutra, which is effervescent product. All of pharmacy diploma students, degree students, they have prepared effervescent granules in the lab. In our dispensing practicals or pharmaceutics practical, we do those. So what does it contain? It contains citric acid and sodium bicarbonate. Just these two, when you add to water, reaction takes place and sodium citrate and carbon dioxide is formed. Carbon dioxide gives effervescence or fizziness, and that is a simple, it is such a simple form. So ENO is the example of this formulation. Now, if you see cost of citric acid and sodium bicarbonate, these are very cheap materials to manufacture, to obtain, and the product should be very cheap. But the problem is citric acid and sodium bicarbonate in presence of very small moisture, amount of moisture, in very slight humidity, start reacting with each other. And once the reaction starts, the next water comes out and you cannot control this reaction. So manufacturing of these products on a scalable level is very challenging. So why this happens? We try to understand first. And we realized that citric acid is a hygroscopic material. Citric acid takes moisture, it is quickly absorbs moisture. So this is a DVS isotherm, DVS dynamic vapor absorption isotherm. So what happens here? Citric acid is kept in a humidity chamber and continuously weight has been checked at 10% humidity, 20%, 40%, 50%. And we realize that it has tendency to absorb moisture and it becomes liquid. Sodium bicarbonate we checked in the same way. Will it absorb moisture? It does not absorb moisture, but here it takes up to 35% moisture. And this takes only 0.3% moisture. So real culprit, the problem giving molecule in this product is citric acid. Once this has been seen, see how simple is the problem. That acid and alkali, citric acid and sodium bicarbonate, they come in contact, react, and make my manufacturing unstable or product is unstable. So what is the solution? The solution is, if you go to any manufacturing company who makes ENO or any effervescent tablet, they bring down humidity of the manufacturing area to 10 to 15% relative humidity. Currently, if we see our regular humidity, it is here in the UK, humidity is 80, this is an island, so humidity is around 75 to 80%. In Mumbai, it will be around same. We have another problem. We have temperature also high. So we have to bring down the temperature. When you bring down temperature, humidity goes up. So relative humidity from this to 46%, 45 to 50% is our GM, good manufacturing practice, or our regular manufacturing humidity. That suppose costs $3. This is just to bring down it to 25% even, you need 4 times electric cost will be there. It is very expensive. Dehumidification of air is the major challenge. And this again has environmental dehumidification costs as well as high dehumidification, major green impact also. Then apart from that, you need packaging system, which is highly resistant. Here, if you see all vitamin tablets, effervescent tablets, they come in these type of packing. The plastic tubes, in the cap there is silica gel. It is the worst thing which we are doing to the environment. So what we did, I came to know this problem. We work on different types of crystals or solids. Some may be amorphous materials, which are where there is no long range order. There are no three-dimensional crystal structure. We work on polymorphs, or we work on co-crystal, where generally in crystal only one type of molecule is present. In co-crystal, more than one type of molecule is present. If the molecule is ionic, we call it salt. If it is water or solvent, we call it solvate or hydrate. But if it is a molecule which is solid at room temperature, so two molecules in the same crystal box, if they are present, or crystal lattice, if they are present, we call it as a co-crystal. This is how I will explain very simple terms. So suppose this is your crystal of drug containing one type of molecules. This is a co-former, another molecule which is not a drug, which is not generally not a drug, which is just an excipient, and it does not form a chemical covalent bond between the two. I mix these two in a particular way, and I get a new type of molecule where what is the bond between these is simple hydrogen bond. So hydrogen bond or halogen bond. If I make this material, it is co-crystal, and the properties of these materials are totally different compared to your original crystal. And here I will. So most of the co-crystals are formed so as to increase dissolution rate. Okay. Example is carbamazepine, and which is insoluble. Take saccharin and add saccharin to the crystal box of carbamazepine, you will get enhanced dissolution. Valsartan sacubitril is the first drug which has been approved by FDA as a co-crystal. Bill Jones group, which is in Cambridge, they showed that if you make a co-crystal, you can, for example, paracetamol, which is poorly compressible, you cannot make tablets easily, make co-crystals of those, you will get tablets. Or caffeine, caffeine forms a hydrate. If you don't want, so this is molecule of water here. If you don't want molecule of water to go into caffeine, they have put one acid here, oxalic acid, and they blocked these sites where hydrogen bond, water forms the hydrogen bond, and they showed that you can form co-crystal. One interesting example of co-crystal, where co-crystals work very badly. So in China, in 2008, many children were facing, suddenly they realized that many children had kidney problems. And when the investigations were carried out, they realized that all the children were using milk powder from a company, a certain company, and they are facing problem. They tried to identify why the problems, it was Olympics time. So Chinese government tried to hide this issue for long period. Many children damaged their kidneys. They had very long-term effects of kidney damage. And when it was investigated at the end after Olympics, it was realized that the company was adding melamine into the contaminating milk with melamine. Why melamine? Melamine contains more number of nitrogen. So more nitrogen value was there. So melamine is water soluble. But melamine, when it goes into body, we have a material, endogenous secretion, which is cyanuric acid. Melamine and cyanuric acid formed a co-crystal, which was insoluble. and that sorry, and that led to formation of kidney stone. So that is a bad example of co-crystal I have given, but these are some of the good examples. So once you have known that there is, so when I read the caffeine thing example, I realized that can I use some co-crystal to block water absorbing capacity of citric acid. So this was just a basic idea I had. So this is called as technology readiness level 1. So whenever you and this is very good practice for researchers to do, ask yourself a question: what is my TRL now? Where is my technology? Where is it at TRL 1? So we need to take at least to TRL 4, 5 level. So ask yourself a question. You may read something, an idea will come to your mind. You are at TRL 1. I identified that citric acid is a problem. I can sort it out if I can make a co-crystal. We prepared a co-crystal of citric acid with nicotinamide. And to my surprise, you can see here, citric acid, which was absorbing water, when combined with nicotinamide and formed a co-crystal, it could take only 0.2%. So from 35% moisture absorption, we brought it down to 0.2% moisture absorption. Then immediately what we did is we prepared effervescent mixture with standard effervescent with citric acid and one with co-crystal, which is shown here. See what happened when a standard effervescent mixture is kept in a humid atmosphere. At 40%, between 40 to 50% relative humidity, it takes very small, maybe less than 0.2% moisture. And immediately the reaction started and CO2 was released. You can see the decrease in weight, which is indicator of release of CO2. Whereas the co-crystal, which we prepared, it did not destabilize at all. So we said that, okay, we have developed some proof of concept, technology concept has been proven, the co-crystals work. This is our, so now my answer is I'm at technology readiness level 2. And in the lab, I have demonstrated that this is conventional effervescent powder. What happens to it in 12 hours? This is my effervescent powder. This is the tablet, conventional effervescent tablet, and our effervescent tablet. So this proves that my technology works. Takes me to technology readiness level 3, where research feasibility has been proven. Okay. Then after that, I have to invest money, resources to take this technology further. Before that, I need to before making that decision, I have to have idea, is there really market? Who are my competitors? Am I going to stand against those competitors? So we did, so Azad was my PhD student. Now he has moved to company, but we studied what is exactly on the market. Is there big market? Yes, there is big market. We went through market research. We conducted all market, and there is huge market for this type of products. Is that who are my competitors? There are two major competitors for this technology. One is effer soda, and second is topogranulation technology. So consider this as sodium bicarbonate, and this is citric acid. Okay. Now, how we can avoid the reaction? You can avoid reaction by putting some barrier. So what effer soda does? Effer soda coats sodium bicarbonate with sodium sesquicarbonate, which is slightly less hygroscopic. Whereas what topogranulation does? Topogranulation coats carries out controlled reaction, and it coats citric acid with sodium citrate, and the barrier is there. So these are particle level barriers. But even if you use these two, your manufacturing is not simplified. You still need dehumidification, but the rate of reaction between the two is slightly reduced. Whereas what we did, we have made citric acid nicotinamide co-crystal. It is a molecular level complexation which has occurred, and now there is no reaction. So we thought that fantastic, we have a good market opportunity here, and we applied for a patent. So this patent was applied. Sudhir Pagire, he was my PhD student. Sachin Korde, my PhD student. With them, I applied it. And in 2015, we applied. In 2019, we were granted first patent in US. Now it has been granted in Indonesia. I'm waiting for India, China, and few other countries. So it is huge investment university which has to do, because first filing PCT and PCT to national filings, it is before this I filed one patent in 2008, which at the end it took long time to get granted. At the end it was not granted, so we after struggle we decided to abandon the patent, but that itself costed me 100,000 pounds. 100,000 pounds means 1 crore rupees university has to spend on me, and we could not get anything out of that. So always, this is the most important thing in academics. Who will support this type of expenditure? It is high risk expenditure. It won't happen that each and every innovation you can make money or can be successfully commercialized. But we were lucky that at least this patent was granted. Then once this was granted, I have done some business development courses supported by government. My postdocs did, mainly postdocs, and we take out the business model canvas. You also, everybody in academics need to take this model, make a business model canvas. What is my innovation? So that is the value proposition. What are the key, now from here to going to the commercial, what is required? Who are my partners? What key resources? Everything should be identified. And then we had to make a presentation to the funding agency that this is something which I think it will work. You may get funded to the next level, or you may not. I could not get next level funding, but that gave me idea that now in the lab I have demonstrated success. Sorry. And my technology works at the laboratory level. Here we have demonstrated. So what we did, we went to a company and told company that we'll show you the magic. Let us manufacture your tablets without any humidity control, and let us manufacture our tablets without humidity control. So in the company, when I demonstrated, so this was their magnesium oxide tablet, effervescent tablet. When their tablets were manufactured without any control, within 12 hours, the tablet failed miserably. Whereas our tablets, when prepared, kept at 60% RH, there was no effect. It was stable. And company was impressed, and company licensed in the technology. The only unfortunate, not unfortunate, only the thing what happened is we made this deal 1 month before the patent was granted. We did not know that patent will be granted so soon. So, and university cannot keep me supporting. So we made a deal with the company, and in 1 month, really, I could have asked for 10 times more because patent was granted. but we did that deal. So this is technology readiness level 5, where in the relevant environment, which is the company environment, company manufacturing environment, we demonstrated we reached technology readiness level 5. Generally, we need to reach up to this stage before we sell out the technology. But the issue is, can you retain support from universities on your own to that point? Little challenging. Now, for commercialization, you have done everything up to this point. You can commercialize it. You can license out the technology. We can start our own company in the university with partners, in partnership with the university, which is a spin-out company, or you can form a joint venture with the commercial partner. So for licensing out, it is better. Earlier you can license it out better. It is from the management point of view, because managements want to reduce their risk, and or a spin-out company can be formed, but again it has its own risk. But currently, I can see in India there is huge support for startups and spin-outs, or you can form a best thing is to form a joint venture, because one thing is you need a channel to market, and that market channel is available with the commercial partner. So that is one of the best route to do that. Here is most important. When we are dealing with the businesses, you need first support from legal team for TDA, confidentiality, material transfer agreements, IP protection, or disclosures, how to disclose, how much to disclose, all these things. So please maintain some business engagement team in your or legal team in your university or management systems. Once you have demonstrated in the relevant a prototype system, we are at TRL 6, and then so we started in the lab with 300 milligram co-crystals. In a small equipment in the lab, we did it up to 200 grams. And now we are manufacturing 400 kilograms in the company. And this is the product, this is the product, first product which may come out in next 3 to 4 months, will hit the UK market. But the first thing, innovation, interdisciplinarity, it should be simple innovation. It need not be a complicated, not necessarily simple, but it can be a simple innovation. But translation, you should be able to see quickly. So now this has been funded again by government. I received recently 250,000 pounds for this. We made a simple material innovation, made a co-crystal of non-hygroscopic citric acid we generated, which is granular, free-flowing, better in compression. That has solved the problem of humidity, dehumidification requirement in manufacturing. So it is manufacturing innovation, no dehumidification required, low carbon footprint. It has made packaging innovation also. Otherwise, so now the packing which you have seen is simple paper packing. We have generated completely biodegradable paper packing we are providing now instead of plastic tubes. Significant decrease in the plastic use. Granules we are providing directly. So a lot of advantages in packaging also we are providing now. Now it is demonstrated in operational environment. It is already within the company. We are at TRL 7, and the product is coming soon. While doing all these things, my publication was we could not publish science behind this. So we did it in 2013. I could publish it or 2012-13 time, and we published it in 2020. So 7-8 years I had to hold publication. This is one of the major challenge again for the academics. You cannot publish it considering commercial impact, but this is and this is totally on science. This is really how it works, and fundamentals of mechanistic understanding around that you can find in this paper. And then comes so this innovation was awarded last year's BioNow Project Award, which is one of the very prestigious award in so all startup companies generally fight for this. We were the only university which could get this award, where we have demonstrated that we can reduce sodium levels in this effervescent. One of the major challenge in effervescent is high sodium content. Because you are taking sodium bicarbonate, who takes mainly effervescent product? Either children, and mainly the 39% market is elderly. So nobody will tell this openly, but elderly population takes effervescent product. Problem is elderly people already have high blood pressure issues, high chances of blood pressure issues, and we are giving them high sodium and daily. This is daily because they prefer to have soluble form. And we received awards, different awards. And so there are other technologies also currently we are working, which is ARCAGE, which is for abuse resistance, Self Gel, which is a medical device for cancer treatment, and FastAct, which is to enhance bioavailability of the materials. Thank you. So, and
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. The forum is open for question and answer now. I have a question from the audience that how long does industrial design protection last?
Okay. The protection lasts for 20 years from the date of priority. So you can see here, already we have lost 5 years. And so every day which we spend without activity, it's a commercial loss. But here we can see that we could still, this is a better way. We made, I think, slightly, we could have delayed it slightly and could have made better opportunity out of this opportunity. But yeah, at the end, it is better not to get anything, better to get something rather than nothing.
That's true. Sir, I have a question. You told us about a lot of funding agencies which are there in UK. Do we have such funding agencies exclusively providing funds for innovations and research or patent filing and all in India?
India, now DST is the major funding agency. DST is funding now, and this is something where I thought the private managements can contribute, and for politically influential, or those who can, rather than politically, those who can influence the policies. For example, can we influence the policies of local agencies? Can we ask PMC to allocate 0.001% of their budget to support local universities, especially in case of how they can make some commercial innovations which will be commercially viable?
Okay. I think
Thank you,
that
sir.
there is no question from the audience right now. So moving ahead towards Sir, I'm sure that your address will help us a lot in understanding the importance of management support for the innovation and commercialization in colleges, not only for the pharmacy education, but also for the various branches of science to the wings of young scientists, and how the private institutions can contribute in the development of country's
Correct.
economy with the innovation to the interdisciplinary research, as well why people thinking in the same way they should need an interdisciplinary approach for the good innovation, and that's for the benefit of the humankind. Really, sir, your address also gave one more idea
Question is
about
there.
what is the technology transfer and the innovation chain converting science into the health. Thank you, Dr. Anand Paradkar, sir, for
Thank you.
an
Thank you.
enlightening and
Thank
entertaining
you.
presentation on the
Thank you,
right
sir.
way to IPR. Once
Thank
again,
you.
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Permission of Principal Ma'am, going to our
Yeah.
one more awaited speaker, Dr. Umesh Bankar, sir. He would guide us on the competitive counterproductive rationale challenge in gaining and protecting IPR. I warmly welcome Dr. Umesh Bankar, sir, on behalf of Pune District Education Association, SRS College of Pharmacy and Polytechnic Saswad. And I would like to request Professor Jitendra Shinde, sir, to introduce Dr. Umesh Bankar, sir. Professor Jitendra Shinde, sir.
Good afternoon, one and all. I myself, Mr. Jitendra Shinde, Assistant Professor and HOD, Department of Pharmaceutics. I warmly welcome Dr. Umesh Bankar, sir. It's my great privilege to introduce Dr. Bankar, sir. Dr. Bankar, sir, is a professor of pharmaceutics and an independent consultant to pharmaceutical industries and academia worldwide with extensive contribution in drug product development and evaluation, both in vitro as well as clinical evaluation. During his academic career, he has served as a professor of pharmaceutics, director of research, chairperson of Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and dean of graduate school at various universities in the US. He is on the International Scientific Advisory Board of several pharmaceutical corporations worldwide. As on date, he has successfully completed several pharmaceutical product development technology transfers during educational assignments sponsored by United Nations and other pharmaceutical corporations worldwide. Additionally, he has planned and executed the development, both in vitro and clinical, of several NDAs and ANDAs. Furthermore, he has served as a testifying and non-testifying expert in over 60 patent litigations in the disciplines of pharmaceutical formulations and technologies, clinical investigations, and dissolution testing. He is the founding chairperson of two international CROs and has executed over 700 clinical trials from phase 1 to phase 4 trials, including bioequivalence studies. He is the founder of Goa Center for Excellence in Intellectual Property, one of the non-profit personally funded center to promote intellectual property awareness nationwide. Additionally, he is the founding board member and principal scientific advisor of Society for Pharmaceutical Dissolution Science, that is SPDS. He has authored over 100 publications, over 100 published abstracts and presentations, numerous specialized workshops, manuals, several chapters and monographs, over 45 expert books, reviews, and 5 guest editorials. The text that he has authored includes pharmaceutical dissolution testing, drug development process, increasing efficiency and cost effectiveness, and co-edited chapters includes Nanobiomedicine, 6th volume, 91 chapter series. Then various other books. He has the co-author of an electronic text, Basic Pharmacokinetics. He is on the roster of experts with WHO, United Nations, Top 10 Program, and International Executive Service Corporation, that is IESC. With this brief introduction, I request Dr. Bankar sir to guide us on competitive counterproductive rationale, challenge in gaining and protecting IPR. Please, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good. It was nice to see Anand after about 2 weeks. Couple of things. One is he has given me 10 extra minutes, so I will use those because I am told many times that I talk a lot of substance, but it takes a long time. And keeps the discussion going. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me to present at this on this forum. Unfortunately, I was unable to get up early, I guess. I was not there for the inauguration, but we will make best of our time that we have. Can I request once more to make sure that it is not recorded?
Yeah, it is. Bisay sir, I think you'll stop recording.
Recording is going on, sir. We have to stop. Okay, sir. I will.
Yeah.
Pause.
Stop it.
I will pause it after your session. I will again start.
For question answer, we can start. That should not be a problem.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. Very good. Very good. Now I'm going to switch over to my slides. Now I have a big screen which is next to me, so you may be seeing me looking at on my right. So that may be a little distraction. So you'll have to excuse me for that. Let me share my screen so that we will just get going. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, there we go. Thank you again. Welcome to everyone, all the participants who are at the conference and the symposium. I really appreciate your interest in this topic, as well as your interest in me participating in this program. What I'm going to talk about is competitive yet counterproductive rationale, challenge in gaining and protecting IPR. What Anand just talked to you about was there is material which was deemed to be possessing some degree of intellectual property, and then what happened after that, which primarily goes into the phase of taking that information and then getting a IPR on it. IPR is intellectual property right on it, and then commercializing it. But the basic question that we are going to talk about and discuss today in fair amount of a bird's eye view, just for us to get an idea about what is all this business of IPR, getting a patent, and more important, in protecting it. Because the challenge is, first of all, to identify your IP. Whatever we do we know that if there is an IP or not? And who does that? That's what we will question ourselves. And then how to ensure that we have some IP in it, in the material that we generate, or the research project that we do, or the projects that we evaluate, or the reports that we read. And second is, if there is material, then what do we do in order to ensure that it gets translated into an IPR, which is the rights that are to be granted to your intellectual property that we are alleging that you have, which means to get a patent. What do we do? Because that's a very mysterious area. So we will talk about that a little bit, and then we will unlock that mystery. And then more important, which very few people talk about in India, is how to protect that. Let's say you got a patent. Now what do you do with it? You commercialize, fine, you commercialize it, and then there is another product that is literally put on the market within a month or so, and then which is doing the same thing as you do, as your product does. So how do we ensure that you protect your IP? So we'll take a couple of interesting scenarios, and we'll talk about these situations. Now, the key question is, what is this business of ET? E-T. ET is a Latin term, which is, for all simple purposes, it is known as and. That is the meaning of the word is and, A-N-D. But it also means, it means, well, this and possibly the other one, which could be against you. Okay? So whatever you say, in order to be competitive, to ensure that you have IPR which is recognized, IP which is recognized through a patent, can that come back to haunt you? So that's the counterproductive part of it. So whatever you say, which will grant you a patent, can come back and get backfired to against you to challenge your own patent. And then can you protect it? So that's the meaning of that word "et," which means not only and, but also what likely can be the scenario. Okay. All right. So let's go for it. What is happening going on? Okay, I'll do it manually. Let's ponder on something which is a little bit more in terms of bringing what Anant is talking about to reality. Okay. There was a student from India who came to Houston, and he did his PhD work. He developed a sustained release formulation for opiate, got his PhD degree, came back to India or went back home. He started to work in the company, and then in 2.5 years later, he got a FedEx envelope from his professor. What it contained was a copy of clean, crisp copy of his patent. And he was like, oh, wow, I have a patent now. That's fine. Party time on that day, and then went back to work. So it's like getting a publication. So, wow, I got a publication. After 1.5 years again, he got another FedEx from his professor. And that FedEx was interesting because that FedEx contained a small envelope which had $50,000 check in it in India. And he was wondering, what is that? And there was a note from his professor saying that, well, congratulations, your project, which was patented, is now a product on the market. And this is your royalty check for the first 6 months. You're like, whoa, that's great. And that is also exempt from tax because it is in healthcare sector. So, and then for the next 6 years, he got almost on an average $250,000 per year as just royalty sitting at home so not at home, but in India. Okay. That goes for the student. So all the students, I challenge you folks that who are attending this program, when you do your master's project or when you do your project or a PhD project, look at whether that project has IP material in it. There was a professor in one of the suburbs of Missouri State, small college, art, science, commerce college. Okay. This science part was this professor is a chemistry professor. He was teaching synthetic chemistry. That's all he was doing. And what he was doing on his own research interest was like what I had or what Anant has or what all you faculty do, is he was synthesizing glues, gum. Okay. And he was filing patents. And he got a few of them. A few years down the road, a well-suited guy knocked on his door and he said, Mr. So-and-so, I am a lawyer from a law firm. And he said, okay, did I do anything wrong? He said, no, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm here to help you. Now, when any lawyer says you are going to help, that's a little questionable. So he said, well, what are you going to help me? Because I have not asked for any. He said, no, don't worry about it. Do you have these documents with you? He produced here the professor's patents themselves. He said, yeah, these are my patents. He said, well, do you know people are using these patents, your product? He said, oh, good. He was a typical professor with a noble heart saying that, well, teaching is a noble question. So he said that, well, yeah, well, somebody's using my research, so it is good. He said, no, it is not good for you. I said, why? Because do you know that you are entitled for royalty on this? He said, oh, really? He said, what is that? So then he gave an interesting scenario. He said, well, your glue, which is what you claim, is a glue which does not stick to your fingers or any kind of biological surface, but it sticks carbon material, which is paper. So the airlines are using it for baggage tag.
Oh.
And it is so hard that you cannot rip it off, and it doesn't stick to your hands either.
Oh,
So
wow.
all of us have traveled one way at a time or the other on plane, and we have checked in baggage, and we have a baggage tag. Have you tried to rip that? Not possible. Have you tried to look at it and check it out for whether it sticks? Yes, it does not. So he said, oh, really? That's what do they do? He said, yeah, but you know what? How many number of, just take a guess, the lawyer said to the professor, just take a guess. How many tags worldwide are put on baggages by the airlines every day? He said, I don't know. So the lawyer had done all the work. He said, it is almost 7.5 million tags are put every day worldwide. He said, oh, good. He said, no, it is not good, because you are entitled for a royalty for every single tag that they put on, which is at least 3 cents. So now you do your math. How many millions of dollars he gets? He's entitled to get every day. Forget about every month, every year. So he said, oh, is that right? So then what they did was they had a discussion, and then they first sued American Airlines. They settled for a nice tidy sum outside the court. Then they sued United Airlines. Third airline where they were ready to sue, all the airlines came together and they said, well, let's settle it once and for all. So then he definitely just retired early and is now in Bermuda enjoying his extended retirement. So the key is what you do, we have to check whether it is worthwhile and what it is worthy of. Okay, so keep this in mind, the two important words, what is worthwhile and what is worthy. Okay. All right, so obviously we are talking about intellectual property, which refers to creations of the mind, which includes inventions. There are two categories which apply to us, industrial property and copyrights. There are several compelling reasons to promote and protect IP, though through efficient and equitable IP system. That is a big discussion. We will not have it today. What is equitable IP system versus what is efficient IP system? At some later point, we'll talk about that. But key is in 1967, World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, provided a list of subject matter protected by IP rights, of which the two that are directly impacting us are scientific works and scientific discoveries. And that's what our business is. Pharmaceutical products, including but not limited to formulations, processes, medical devices, diagnostic kits, etc., for example, resulting from scientific works and discoveries, have been protected by IP rights by issuance and grant of a patent to the generator or the innovator of IP. Key question is, who is the generator and who is the innovator? So this is, patent is an official document. This is the law now. It's an official document granting the right or privilege to an inventor for a term of 20 years from the date of filing. The only right to make, use, or sell his or her invention. Okay, so patent is all about an invention and gaining a right which is exclusively the inventor's right, or the number of inventors, one or many, to make, sell, or use whichever way they want worldwide. Okay, because this is not only WIPO definition, but it is worldwide now accepted. This is a face. There are the two examples are the faces of two patents, US patents. So just to give you an idea, Prilosec omeprazole patent AstraZeneca was, this patent is now almost ready to expire, but this makes over 1.2 billion a year. Wellbutrin, which is bupropion hydrochloride sustained release formulation, makes about $1 billion a year. Lialda, which is recently we got a judgment from the court that we, when I was representing an Indian company for non-infringement, we got the ruling in our favor, but that product makes over $1 billion a year. So this is the worthiness of a worthwhile work that is being done. Okay, so now the difference is what we will try to look at. So what can be patented? Very briefly, we'll go no more than 30 seconds on it. Methods, machines, article of manufacture, composition of matter, a new use for any of these about things, design of for an article of manufacture, certain plants we can patent. What we cannot patent: mental processes, thinking that I am, whatever my thoughts are, I cannot patent. There is this whole business of idea patent, which is still a big question, but we still have to write it down. So just mental processes that I am contemplating and thinking and dreaming doesn't qualify for patenting. Mathematical algorithms cannot be patented, but the results of mathematical algorithms are patentable. So, but in India, it goes one step further and says that, well, neither mathematical algorithms nor the results can be patented, which is a little bit strange, but that is what it is in India. Scientific principles cannot be patented. So Newton could not patent the apple falling on his head, saying that, well, gravity is not patentable. Arrangements of printed matter cannot be patented. Naturally occurring things, bioavailability cannot be patented. Growth of a plant cannot be patented. Turmeric cannot be patented, but the products from turmeric can be patented. So be very careful. What was withdrawn as a patent was not turmeric. It was the composition for various reasons. The media made a big hullagulla of it in India, saying that, well, how can somebody patent turmeric? Nobody was patenting turmeric. Solely useful or human being cannot be patented. There's a big question about this cloning and two sheep and so on and so forth. That is still a big question mark. Human beings cannot be patented. Solely useful in an atomic weapon cannot be patented. So weapons of mass destruction cannot be patented, or any technology for that. So what is IPR and intellectual property rights, and what is the role of scientists in IPR? We did a small exercise. What we did was we did a SNAP survey and looked at 500 research faculty and research students and asked them a question: what do you think is the role of scientists in IPR? These were some of the responses, which are kind of interesting. They said, well, oh, this is lawyers' domain, not ours. It is IP law. Agencies do that for us. We have no clue. That is the best way to get out of it. And then administration's responsibility is not us. Let the deans figure it out. Let the university administration figure it out. And primarily, most of them said it is law and lawyer stuff. Okay. Interestingly, we took that further and let's evaluate what exactly, who is the IP generator? Patent lawyers, no. Patent agents, no. Patent examiners, no. So none of these are generating IP. Scientists are the IP generators. So we are the IP generators. Okay. So everything starts with us and ends with us. So never never think about it as or accept the notion that IP lawyers are the ones who are generating IP. No, we are generating IP. What they do is they help us get it into a format or get it processed and get a patent out of it. But they are not generating IP. So we are the ones who know what it is. Scientists and technologists do not know law, and lawyers have limited understanding of science. Keep this in mind. Okay. So it is IP is all business of scientists and technologists. IPR, getting the rights for IP, lawyers can help us, or we can help you, scientists can help you, and we'll go over that in a few minutes. So do we know what is an invention and what qualifies for grant of IPR or a patent? We talk about it a lot. We talk about, well, we need a patent, ATO, this, that, all the initiatives, all talk about we need a patent, we need a patent, we need a patent. Do we know what is a patent? Do you know what is an invention? Oh no, that is lawyer stuff. That is not lawyer stuff, that is our stuff. So let's look at what is an invention. Patentability is simple and straightforward understanding of what qualifies as an invention. Okay, so if you are able to do this, if you are able to follow this and understand this, you will know whether your project has IP in it and whether it qualifies as an invention, therefore it is patentable. So listen to this a little bit carefully. So let's take an example. Okay. We have patients, we are all pharmacy students or healthcare background. So let's look at it in a very common terminology. We have patients who have pain, and that pain has to be relieved as quickly as possible. But that pain is chronic pain. So now it has to be relieved as quickly as possible. And secondly, it has to have a sustained effect as well after it is relieved right away. So what we need is an immediate release portion in a formulation which releases the drug quickly and then gets into the system relieving the pain. And then also we have in the same formulation, we should have a sustained release portion which releases over a period of time. So what this company did was, they took a typical osmotic drug delivery system, which all of us know very well, which had a push and pull pump, and then it has an orifice which continues to release the drug for a long period of time. Once the hydrodynamic pressure, blah, 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 starts to get into effect. Okay. Then what they did was they took this osmotic pump with that orifice in it and then overcoated it with a immediate release portion. So now when this overcoated osmotic pump is applied, what happens? Immediately there is a release, very rapid release in the early part. And then when this osmotic pump kicks in, it starts to release the drug slowly over 8 hours. Now we know osmotic pump, we know it releases zero order, we know immediate release. We know that immediate release will release the drug right away, and then the osmotic pump will take its time and it releases zero order. So what is the invention in this? The invention in this is normal or so-called sustained release osmotic pump should give us zero order rate. But this osmotic pump gives us ascending release order, increases the release rate over a period of time and continues to do that. So that part is invention. The ascending release part, which is not ever done before, and using a technology which is known, but modifying it to get this novelty in it, is the invention. Okay. So when it was put into a in vitro system, it gave immediate release and then ascending release. And look at the blood levels, it goes up, and then these are the levels that are ascending up over a period of time, over 10 hours. So now translating that information into an invention or a claim, a method for treating ADD and ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder drug, comprising administering a dosage form comprising methylphenidate, which is a first-line drug, we know that. That provides a release of methylphenidate, we also know that, at an ascending release rate, not constant release rate or not a decreasing release rate, but an increasing release rate over an extended period of time. That's the invention. Okay. So let's see how did they do that. So this is what we normally, I teach the students that, well, this is how you evaluate in very simple terms your project. First and foremost, what do you do when you have a research project? First thing you do is huddle into the library and do a literature search. Okay. So that's literature search is your first part here, where you are doing the search to identify something that is not done. Remember all of your statement of problem, which says that, oh, there is a lacuna in this, or there is this is not being tackled, this has not been, there is paucity of information, all those nice terminology. That is what this is, where you identify a problem. When you identify the problem and then you work on it and you get a result, you have solved the problem. That's your research work. Okay, so far so good. Now, when you do complete this, then you do another research part. So this RE is in lower case and SEARCH is in capitals. You do another search after you get your results. What is that search? I'm not going to ask you to check what is paucity of information in the literature now. What I'm going to ask you to do is check your conclusions with what research or what patents or any kind of information in the literature is available similar to yours. Okay. So that is the second part that we do. Now with our results, we compare the results of others reported in the literature on similar projects and then identify the difference between these two. So that difference is the invention. So very simply, what we do is worthwhile. We have identified a project, we have identified a problem, and we have solved it. It is worthwhile. Our results, now when we check it with what is known in similar domain and determine the difference, we will get to know the worthiness of our results. So the difference between the worthwhile nature of your results and the worthiness of your result is the invention. Okay. So that's exactly what these guys did for methylphenidate. Sustained release is known, osmotic system is known, zero order release is known, but ascending release part is not known. That was the worthwhile and the difference between worthwhile and worthiness. Okay. So that's making millions of dollars right now. So forget about the money part, but this is what IP is. So what is the domain of IP? IPR, intellectual property rights. What is the domain? There are three major areas: identifying IP, acquiring IP, a patent, and protecting IP. Okay. Right now, majority of the activity that is happening in India in frenzied activity is acquiring a patent. Very little is happening in identifying because we don't believe ourselves that we are the ones who should identify. We give it to somebody else. So what I'm saying is we should take that control in ourselves. Okay. So one quick point that I want to make in the previous slide is I would like to challenge all of our graduate students or postgraduate students and research faculty. Every project that we do, when we complete it, try to check this out. Okay. All right, let's get back to this. So identifying IP, getting a patent, and protecting IP. What is involved in gaining IP rights or so-called invention or a patent? We have to generate data, obviously, which will give us information whether there is IP material in it. Then we'll have to prosecute that information and get a allowance, or what is known as saying that, well, okay, what are we looking for as a claim in the patent, or what is my invention? That is getting a patent. And then we should think about protecting it, which we are not right now again, and I'm not going to say that again, but keep this in mind, we should think about protecting as well. So identifying IP, what are we looking for in identifying IP? Yes, the big issue is, well, the difference between worthwhile and worthy. So let's look at that a little bit in detail. That's where our competitive and counterproductive information comes in. Okay, we have to be competitive. I got the results. I want to check those results with what is known. So we have to be competitive to determine the difference. Okay, and while determining the difference, we have to ensure what we state or what we say, what we write down, what we admit to the patent agency or patent authority. We have to be very careful, because what we state, what we write, what we say, what we admit, what we confess, what we so-called surrender, what we give in can be counterproductive, can come and bite us. So translating research into invention from scientist's perspective is what we will look at for a few minutes. So when you complete your research project, what do you get? You get results, or what we call it as outcomes, depending on what type of research you do. Ask 4 simple questions. Okay. Are these results expected? Are these results inherent? Are these results obvious? And are these results anticipated? Right now, we have no clue what is expectation, we have no clue what is inherency, we have no clue what is obviousness, we have no clue what is anticipation. Because those are the areas or the questions or the policies or the requirements that the patent examiner from patent office will be looking for. Okay, so we better know this, because lawyers will not be able to help us. They will ask us the question, did you expect these results? Are these results inherent? Are these results obvious? Are these results anticipated? The simple answer to that is, the answer should be no for every single question. If at some point it can be flipped around and one of it becomes yes, your granted patent is at risk for invalidation. Okay. So you be very careful. Okay. So articulating your research findings into invention requires these 4 questions to be asked. And once you have a clear-cut no, then you have potential invention with you. Now you have to evaluate that with determining the difference between worthwhileness and worthiness. And then you can identify your invention. And invention basically boils down to not the entire patent. The entire patent, my dear friends, is not the invention. The invention is only the claim. Okay, so do not ever think that your entire patent is invention. No. So what you state in the claim is the critical part. So patentability requires 3 things plus others, but mainly novelty, innovation, and non-obviousness. Non-obviousness, I'll come to that in a minute, but what is POSA? POSA is person of ordinary skill in the art, which is you and I. Okay. So a person of ordinary skill in the art should be able to justify clearly, convincingly, beyond a reasonable doubt that what you are claiming as an invention is not obvious to a person of ordinary skill in the art. Okay, and that's what is essential. So novelty, innovation, and non-obviousness are the criteria which all patent agencies are required to evaluate. Definitions of novelty and innovation, non-obviousness are written down for in US Patent Office. In Indian Patent Office, they are nebulous. So that is, we are not getting to that, but that is where exactly the crux or the so-called devil is in the details. What is novelty? First time ever, never done before. What is innovation? What is known is modified to get a novel part. Okay, that is the simplest way of understanding it. And both are required. You cannot say that my invention is novel but not innovative. You cannot have an innovative invention without novelty. So if I prove that your invention or so-called is not novel, it is not patentable. Or later on, your challenge can be a granted patent can be revoked based on no novelty or no innovation. So keep this in mind. So the total evaluation of a claim when it is submitted is evaluated by the patent office on these grounds, of which the first 6 are important. Novelty and innovation. First time is novelty. Innovation is what is known is modified to get novelty. Not inherent. It is not obvious. It is not anticipated. And it is enabled. Enabled means a person of ordinary skill in the art is able to exercise or create the same product as per the description in the patent. Cannot sell it, but can create it. So that is enablement. So it has to have enough information in the patent about that. And it has to be non-indefinite. And there are secondary considerations, of which today, given the time, we will give examples about indefiniteness and obviousness a little bit. We will go, given time, we will look at obviousness in a little bit detail. So let's go forward. So what is the patenting process? Now we know what is required. Patenting process is pretty much similar to getting a manuscript published. Although manuscript is published is in very relatively short duration, in one month to 1 year, patenting takes anywhere between 1 year to 4 years, 5 years, or depending on what all is involved in it. So acquiring IPR, understanding patent, basically it has 3 steps. We make an application, like we write a manuscript and we claim certain things that we think are our inventions, so our claims. Then it goes through a patent office, it is prosecuted. Prosecuted means the patent reviewer examines it, gives you a review report, and then that review report goes back, you respond to that, and then ultimately the patent examiner is satisfied and the patent examiner allows the claims in whichever way the format is, the language is. So that is basically the getting your publication. It's an 8-step process. We'll not spend time on that, but the key part in patenting process is prior art and information disclosure statement, which every inventor has to provide. What is information disclosure statement? A description of your entire invention in detail. Prior art is evaluating your invention or alleged invention or your results, comparing it with what is known 1 year prior to the date you are submitting and showing the difference. That is analysis, search analysis, and demonstrating differentiation to ensure that whatever you are claiming is enabled and also it is not obvious. So be careful when you are disclosing, it has to be complete. And secondly, how are you differentiating the prior art from your alleged invention? So competitive and counterproductive will come into picture. So while you're doing that, while you're demonstrating the differences between what is known and what you are alleging that you have an invention, you are admitting certain things to the patent office. So whatever you state during that admission can be and will be held against you. Keep this in mind very, very clearly. So it is a double-edged sword. In prosecution, what you write to get a patent can be used against you while you protect it while somebody challenges it. Whether it is pre-publication challenge or post-publication challenge, it doesn't matter. So be very careful. So again, this is the front page of a patent. So you have got it. So let's see. The heart of the patent is the claim. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Don't be carried away that, well, I have a 40-page patent. Big deal. How many claims you have? Only 1 or 4 or 5. That's all is your invention. Everything is supporting that claim. Okay. Now there is the issue of what supports claim and what claim supports the specification. Not today, some other time. Okay. So claim is the critical part, the heart of it. So you have to be able to defend your claim as well as to ensure what should be in the claim. Ensuring what should be in the claim is granting the patent to you, which is gaining your IPR. Also ensuring that you are defending while anybody challenges it, that is protection. Okay. So what does a claim have? Claim should have, or has, we should know the understanding of the claim is the meaning of scope and limit. Every claim should have scope and limit. Claim cannot be so wide and so broad that it is limitless. Okay. So what do we look at? Read a claim. A claim will have certain parts to it. Those are known as elements. So every element we have to construct, and that construction of the element requires we have to tell the limit of that element and the scope of that element. Where does it start? Where does it end? Then we prosecute that element, we litigate that if required, and then finally get a claim which is allowed. So what are the implications? When you are saying that my invention works within this limit, you are actually surrendering what is outside the limit, even without stating it. I'll repeat that one more time because this is very, very crucial. Whatever you're admitting to the patent office as the limit and scope, or limit particularly, of your element of the claim, everything outside the limit you are giving up, even without stating it. Claim says, I have a sustained release formulation which has a composition which has a sustained release polymer between 5% to 8%. And that claim is granted. Technically, legally, you have given up everything below 5 and everything above 8. So your research or your invention is only between 5 and 8%. Okay, so that's what it is. So what we seek and what we settle for, you have to be very careful. That is your claim element, limit of a claim element. Okay? One would want everything on the surface of Earth and on the moon as well, but you ultimately get only what is in Mumbai. That's it, surface of Mumbai, or in your case, Pune. That's all you get. Okay. All right, but fine. So nobody can encroach Pune. That is the limit of your invention. All right, let's go forward a little bit quicker. So that is your patent. Again, you have been granted. Congratulations. Now look at the claim. This is a patent which says a modified methylphenidate hydrochloride form capsule comprising an immediate release and an extended release beads. Composition contains both because there is and. Immediate release bead and extended release bead. When the immediate release and the extended release beads are mixed in the amount shown in the following table and tested using USP dissolution or apparatus 2 at 50 RPM in 500 ml water, the mixed beads, this composition, mixed beads release methylphenidate approximately in the percentages shown in the table. So your invention basically is, if I take a 20% immediate release and 80% extended release beads, in 1 hour, 24.5%, 8 hours, 79.2%, 12 hours, 89.2%. Anything above that is given up. Okay, so that's it. So your invention is limited to only this profile, from 0 to 12 hours, this profile. For 30-70, this profile, 40-60, this profile, so on and so forth. That's all your invention. Anything above that or below that is not your invention. Okay. So now we know a little bit about about gaining an IP. So let's see protecting an IP. So now you have a claim, which was whatever we looked at before, both the patents. One was for the ascending release part, and this one was for the mixed composition or multiple unit capsule containing IR and ER beads with a specific profile. So now we want to protect that because I have 20 years rights on it. Protection is primarily based on 2 counts: validity of your patent and infringement by anybody else of your claim. Validity is basically challenging your patent to whether it is valid to begin with. Infringement is I have these limits and is somebody doing something which is within those limits, which then is infringing my patent. Okay, so let's look at validity for a minute. Validity, by the term, it means the term over which the treaty or the patent is enforceable and is exclusively owned by the inventor. Unless otherwise proven invalid, the treaty is considered valid, which means your patent is valid for 20 years, period, unless somebody challenges it. Second possibility of challenging your potential patent is when we are filing it in India, there is something known as a pre-publication challenge, a review, where somebody can challenge your claim itself, saying that, well, even if it is being considered for review, it is not valid to begin with. Okay. In US, there is post-publication, which comes under patent tribunal, where the challenges are evaluated, or alternately, you can challenge them in normal court. Basis for invalidity are exactly the opposite for validity. If I am able to show your claim is inherent, it is not novel, it is not innovative, it is obvious, it is anticipated, it is not enabled, and it is indefinite, your patent is invalid. So secondly, there is another term which comes in, which is you cannot patent the same thing two times in different ways. Example would be fluoxetine, which is antidepressant, is also for urinary incontinence. So you can do this, but on the other hand, you cannot patent the molecule for fluoxetine, one, and then come out and say that this molecule has a second patent 5 years later, saying that, well, this molecule is used as an antidepressant. You cannot do the double patenting. So that is a different story, which we'll not touch today, but there is double patenting. Patenting is also grounds for invalidity. Key part is these, where if I'm able to show that a person of ordinary skill in the art is able to show that your claim is inherent. It is a normal thing that happens by of the product anyway. So there's no big deal. It is not novel, it is not innovative, it is obvious, anticipated, not enabled, and indefinite. So we'll take a couple of these for our interesting case. We look at indefiniteness as grounds for challenging as well as protection. So now, in the exercise that I do when I give courses on IP for scientists is half the group is defending a claim and half the group is challenging the claim. And then there is interesting discussion happens. So maybe some point we will get into that. So what is indefiniteness? Indefiniteness basically is defined as a patent must contain a written description of the invention, straightforward, and the manner and process of making and using it, straightforward, in such full, clear, concise, and exact terms as to enable any person skilled in the art to which it pertains, or with which it is most nearly connected to make and use the same. Okay, so this is a legal word, so let's bring it down into what is really understandable. Scope of the elements, if they are so broad, we talked about limit and we talked about scope is even wider than that. Scope of the element is so broad that a person of ordinary skill in the art is not possible to reproduce the invention despite written description and specifications provided in the patent without undue experimentation, too much experimentation, and reasonable degree of success. Okay. So basically, which means that I have to do so much because I don't know where the limits are, where the scope is. So even if I do that, I am not able to check whether my product is going to fall within or outside the claim because I don't know the scope of the claim. And I'll have to do undue experimentation where my reasonable degree of success is very low. Okay, so let's take an example which will make it clear. 248, which we invalidated, is a patent which says it is a sustained release formulation of topiramate comprising the drug as an active ingredient. So far, so good. Which is released from the formulation along a predetermined release profile. So far, so good. The formulation comprising of blah, 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 where the sustained release or extended release component releases the drug in a continuous manner. So far, so good. Such that greater than or equal to 80% of the drug is released in vitro in less than or equal to about 4 hours. So basically it is saying that this formulation, sustained release formulation of topiramate, the extended release component releases the drug in 4 hours up to 80%. That's what it says in an in vitro system. Okay, so let's break it down. What is that in vitro system? In vitro system is going to be our dissolution test, which is no mention in the claim. So we looked at the specifications. Specification says that in column 3, line 65 to 67 says, and as the only reference in the entire patent saying that the release rates referred to herein are determined by placing the dosage form to be tested in a medium in an appropriate dissolution bath. Aliquots of the medium are collected at preset intervals. What is an appropriate dissolution bath? We don't know. What is the condition? We don't know. There are over 200 plus dissolution testing apparatus. There are over hundreds of these different conditions. So now you do your permutations and combinations, you will have thousands and thousands and thousands of experiments to do. Even if you do them, you will not know whether you will get 80% in 4 hours or not. Some may do, some may not. So in this case, the limit and the scope of the claim is so broad. In an in vitro test, 80% in 4 hours is so broad that a person of ordinary skill in the art is unable to not only determine whether we are within, but it is so indefinite that I don't know whether I will be infringing or not, or whether I'll be within the claim or outside the claim. So on that ground, this claim is indefinite. So they had to settle out of court and blah, 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 and then we won the case. Anyway, so we'll take a look at it. I have about 16 minutes, so we will probably be able to take a look at this a little bit in detail. Obviousness. What is obviousness? First, we have to show, during prosecution, we have to show that our results are different than what is already known for these bases, on these bases or these rationale counts. And therefore, it is not obvious for a person of ordinary skill in the art to get my results. Therefore, they are patentable. Now, I am going to challenge your claim saying that, well, what you did is all crap anyway, because whatever you have in your claim as elements, I, as a person of ordinary skill in the art, from the literature, will be able to combine the information and come up with the same conclusion that you have got as your claim. So in that case, it is obvious to a person of ordinary skill in the art. And on that basis, it can be claimed as invalid. So the law says, or the section 103 of the Patent Act says that, well, if the differences between the subject matter, which is our results, sought to be patented, and the prior art, which is what we are comparing it against, are such that the claimed subject matter, which is our results, as a whole, would have been obvious to the person of ordinary skill in the art at the time of the invention, as invention was made. Very clearly stated. Okay. So now the question is, on what grounds you claim obviousness? There are 5 steps. We are not going to go that today because that is an entire one-day discussion. But those are 5 levels we have to evaluate for obviousness. Unfortunately, we in India, patents are invalidated, especially foreign patents coming in are invalidated on grounds which are, there are no policies for obviousness. but they use policies from outside the country. So which is a little questionable, but then maybe we will work towards that with time. But prima facie, what we have to show is, well, the differences that we are claiming from the matter that we are claiming as our invention and the patent art, prior art, when we are comparing, is not obvious to a person of ordinary skill in the art. But I'm going to show that it is obvious and show that it is, your claim is invalid. So basically, the factors are 5: scope and content of the prior art, the differences between prior art and the alleged invention, subject matter, the level of ordinary skill in the art, additional considerations, and objective indicia. So those are the things which we will not talk about today. We'll take an example. This is cynic acid patent, which is basically 405, which is for treatment for hyperthyroidism. Okay. Sensipar is the product on the market. There are generic versions available, or not in US yet, but in India they are available. But cynic acid is known drug. What this claim basically says, it is a pharmaceutical composition, any composition, not tablet, not capsule, anything, any composition, pharmaceutical composition, contains the drug, certain dose. That formulation contains a diluent, a binder, a disintegrating agent, and that composition is used for treatment of hypothyroidism. That's all it says. That's all it says. So now you tell me, such a formulation is an immediate release formulation, which we know that it has to contain a drug, it has to contain a diluent, it has to contain a binder, it has to contain a disintegrating agent, and it has to contain some degree of what it is useful for. So this is all information known in the literature. So what is the big deal? This is a crappy claim. That's what we think. So it was challenged. Amgen has this patent. When this product was placed on the market, 23 generic companies worldwide submitted challenges to this claim by submitting an ANDA or generic product. Amgen sued every single of those generic companies, and they looked at what is the basis. I'm not going to tell you the result, because there is one element which is still being contested, and I am expert witness on that. So anyway, so what is the basis of challenging it, which is in public domain information? First of all, prior art says that the drug substance is already known in prior art. So fine, that element is over. Second element is the composition. The prior art has an example 9, which has a composition which fits into the claim, and the limits of the binder, the disintegrating agent, and the diluent. So that is also taken care of to show that, well, prior art already had that. Third piece of information is, yes, this prior art also says that the compounds of invention are formulated in various modes of administration, which means in various formulations. So pharmaceutical composition is also covered in prior art. So that is also known. Goodman-Gilman tells us, or Goodman reference tells us that, well, such a composition, the cynic-alcymitic, which is cynic acid type of formulation, lowers the plasma parathyroid hormone levels in hemodialysis patients with secondary hyperthyroidism. So it is clear mention of so many patients with secondary hyperthyroidism were evaluated by such a product. So indication is also known. So on this basis, a person of ordinary skill in the art, another prior art says that it shows clearly blood levels also, and the results from the blood levels where the plasma thyroid levels were decreased with time on administration of the drug. So on these counts, all information is known. A person of ordinary skill in the art can make a formulation with all this information and come up with the same result. There is still more prior art. So that basis these bases can be put together and then can be presented to the court, which was presented to the court, saying that, well, see, this invention or this claim is really a person of ordinary skill in the art would come up with the same results, so it is very obvious. Okay, so let's see, the court results have not come in yet, but this is what is currently happening. So we know how to look at prior art and also look at invalidation. Okay. We will not talk about infringement today because we'll defer it for some other time. What is the current scenario in India regarding IPR? Okay. India is yet to recognize the full potential of IP rights in all its dimensions. Basically, the three dimensions that we have talked about are generation of IP, preservation of IP, and protection of IP. Reasons for low IPR awareness: we lack motivation, we lack of policy and procedures at institutions as well as at not only the educational institutions, but at government institutions as well. Publish or perish is the mantra which should be revised to patent and prosper. So that's what Anand talked a little bit about. Who is the focus? Is the inventor, which are researchers and students. Researchers include faculty as well, or any other researcher. Syllabus talks about basics of IPR and law, but it does not talk about what the inventor should do with his or her research work. We already established that the scientists are the IP generators. What needs to be done to increase awareness? Educators need to incorporate IP into the curriculum discussions to increase knowledge on the importance and benefits of protecting IP. And for that, we need science, and as well as not only from the initial stage, but also we need science all throughout. So that motivated me to set up the Center for Excellence in Intellectual Property, which is the first of its kind and the only of its kind in India at this point in 2016. The vision of the center is to recognize and protect scientific discovery with the rights it deserves. And it is all scientific discovery. It is not only health sector or pharmacy. What is the mission? Provide professional services with the highest quality and integrity of scientific community in recognizing and protecting scientific discovery through intellectual property rights at the highest level that it deserves globally. We have three main objectives: academic advancement or programs through professional advancement programs. So we give teaching programs particularly for scientists. Law is one aspect only we talk about, but mostly majority, if not all of it, is oriented to the scientists because that is essential. Continuous upgrade and upgradation of knowledge base in IP matters. Every year we have an international conference on IP where I bring in lawyers from outside India as well as Indian lawyers, both from academia as well as law firms, and also lawyers from US as well as other countries, law firms, and they talk at this and they give presentations. We also provide a platform for research students or researchers to present their research presentation as research showcase presentation, where we provide them a platform to interact with IP experts to evaluate their IP potential of their project. Then we identify 10 most promising ones from the presentations, and then we recognize 3 awards every year. Since 2017, we are doing this. We have, I think, 2 or 3 filings which have already happened through this process. We provide IP services to researchers, academic institutions, so on and so forth, industry as well as law firms. We have just initiated a campaign of 2020 and beyond, which is a 5-year dedicated effort to enhance the knowledge base and awareness of IP to scientific communities across disciplines and across state boundaries in the entire country. So we have identified 5 disciplines, but what is the objective of this campaign? To induce spirit of inquiry in translating theoretical science into innovative products. So it is all across the board. So don't worry about it, whether it is not only pharmacy or it is not only medicine or not only healthcare sector. All sectors we have helped agricultural science, we have helped IT, we have helped engineering. Of course, we have helped pharmacy and medicine as well. So this is what it is. We are already into 5, 6 states so far, and 4, I think, international platforms. The campaign will cover the entire country from this coming year through 2025, where we will hit almost 3,500 institutions and talk to the students as well as research faculty and give induction seminars to introduce the awareness or introduce the IP awareness in the minds of the students as well as they progress through their career. Summary and concluding remarks. Yes, I have 16 seconds. Scientist's role, IPR domain it consists of identifying IP, acquiring a patent, protecting invention. Keep this in mind very clearly. Scientists, it starts with you and ends with you, entire IP. Scientists and not a lawyer, we know that. So building better scientists starts right from academic development. So we need to build the best scientists in order to take IP forward. Patentability is a double-edged sword. Whatever you say will give you or get you a patent, but can be held against you when you're protecting it. So be very careful what you say and what you not say. But also at the same time, be practical that, well, you can only get certain things. You cannot get anything and everything because it will tend to become indefinite. Whatever you say can be and will be held against you. That's the mantra that I would want you to keep in mind whenever you are evaluating your project for IP potential. And I wish you all the best in getting one. Okay. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The forum is open for the question and answer now. We are having some questions from the participants like, please give information about Form 18.
Excuse me?
Information about Form 18.
I don't know the form number, so you have to give me a little bit more on that. Okay. I think you're talking about Indian forms. I'm
maybe.
that.
Yeah. Okay, sir. The participant who have asked the question, I am sure that I will get it answered from the experts and will convey you. The next question is that what precautions do generic drug manufacturers need to take to avoid the further litigation?
I have represented generic companies a lot. I have also represented inventors a lot. And interestingly, I have represented even the government, FTC, which is Federal Trade Commission, in IP matters and where price fixing was a problem in US. So I have seen both sides of the picture. Generic companies, the routing that they go for are 2 ways. Number one is through what is known as a ANDA submission in US, where they have to have a clear, unequivocal, as well as beyond reasonable doubt. Keyword is beyond reasonable doubt rationale to prove non-infringement, as well as if they are going through the route of invalidation of a patent. Okay, so and those are high counts of requirements. The bar is very high in terms of what is required, because keep in mind that the inventor will have all the information why they got the claim, and also why the generic company or generic product is infringing. At the same time, they will have all the rationale because the prior art that is submitted, which was evaluated to get the claim by the inventor, has the patent office has already evaluated that and ensured that, well, there is a difference and they have allowed the claim. So basically, we are challenging the patent office. And that challenging the patent office is something that courts do not really go for. So we have to be very careful. It has to be not only overwhelming. Number two, it has to be clear, concise, clear. It has to be not only concise, but it has to be also compelling. So clear, convincing, and compelling, such that all of your arguments will reach only one conclusion, which is what you are seeking. If you are unable to do that, then you have a little bit challenge on your hand. Okay, so be very careful that. The second routing that they have is the possibility of a 505(b)(2). 505(b)(2) basically is nothing but you are doing some changes in what is already known and then claiming a new drug application, where you run the risk that, well, it may have already been claimed by another inventor, which basically is the product that you are going to use as your competitor. So be very careful. Be very careful there. And even more important is generic companies now are trying to explore the route of 505(b)(2) to get a patent themselves.
Acha.
In which case, then you have the added responsibility of saying that, well, my 505(b)(2) patent is different than the patent which you have already been challenged for. And then you have to have a double level of rationale to show that not only all this is already known, which I am convincingly arguing that, well, the patent is invalid or I'm not infringing that, but what I am claiming in 505(b)(2) is patentable. Okay. So those are two very tall orders of requirements. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is by the participant is, since patent is a costlier process, can we publish research paper first to block idea? And can this published experiment be patented after some time?
Somehow I knew that question would come because that is a question which is common all the time when I go to all the academic institutions. All right. There is this another mystery that has recently been developed where, oh, you can't publish, you can't publish, you can't publish, you can't publish, which is partly true, but partly it had to be careful. What is the basis of your publication being used against you as prior art? That's the real question. So why are we not allowed to publish? Because we believe that if we publish before and then we file a patent, then that will be used in, well, it is already known, so it is prior art. Okay. So now that's the mind block, saying that, well, okay, fine, so don't publish at all.
Okay.
Whenever you get a grant, that's the first thing the grantor will enforce in your grant contract, which is understandable because they want to protect their IP through and through.
Okay.
Okay. So I have still 5 projects in my folder. Even I have quit university 20 years ago, which I cannot publish. Anand had only 8 years. So if any consolation. Why? Because that's how they protect their IP anyway. The key question is, when any information in public becomes prior art, eligible for prior art, it is anywhere 12 months to 18 months prior to the date of your submission of your application. So now if I am going to submit my application on June 1, 2020, anything prior to June 1, 2019 is prior art.
Oh.
So between 2019 June 1 and May 31st, 2020, I can do anything I want with my product. research work.
Okay.
That cannot be considered as a prior art.
Okay.
Okay.
So get out of that mind block. Now, the complication can arise is you submit an application on December 2019, which is within the prior art period. But the publication comes out later. Or you have submitted an application prior to June 1, 2019, and the publication comes in within the prior art period, I mean the 12 months. The second one is a problem because you have a submission which is done prior to the prior art date, cutoff date.
Achha.
So even if the publication comes within your prior art period, you are still not eligible to claim that as outside prior art because your date is in prior art within the after the 12-month period.
Okay.
So make sure that your publication date, or sorry, submission of your manuscript is within that period. Then you are okay. Then you are okay.
Okay.
Especially for non-funded project, because non-funded project, I can guarantee you that the inventor, or sorry, the funder or the grantor will write that in. If they don't, then they are really they are not thinking through. If I'm going to give you $100,000 to do a project and I want it to be protected, I'm going to say, well, you cannot publish this for 20 years. Period. End of the story. So that's the thing that we have to talk about when you talk about industry academic interactions and so on and so forth, which is much more in detail and policies to be set, who gets what, and then if it gets published and if it gets commercialized, how to distribute your royalties and all those things. But this particular question of publication, don't be scared. You have to ensure that it is within the prior time.
Okay.
Outside that, then you are in trouble. But if you are within that, then you are fine, perfectly fine. Okay, all right.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The next question is related to the funding agency only. Can the funding agency file a patent, or it is exclusively on the inventor's name, or both?
Government funding agencies cannot file a patent.
Okay.
So, and I think that is the same thing with this BACRI and all these funding agencies in India. In US also, the policy is the same. NIH cannot get patents. FDA cannot get patents. Private funding agencies can get patents. I mean, as a matter of fact, as I said, they should enforce that as a line item in the contract.
Okay, sir. So next question is that, is there any need of agent to file application for patent?
Now the question is there a requirement, or is there a need for an agent to file a patent? To file, the keyword is to file.
Okay, to file.
Okay? Not to identify, okay?
To file.
This presentation came through. Second question is, yes, individually you can file as well.
Okay.
There is no requirement.
Achha.
Agents, agencies, law offices will impress on you that they will do this for you as a service where you don't have to worry about it. We will take care of it, blah, 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 blah. I charge $200 per hour. If it goes to any kind of office action, which means the review comes in and then you have to respond to the review, the charge is about $300 or $400 per hour. And then if it gets to litigation for challenging your claim, pre and post publication, in case of US it is PTAB, post publication, then we will charge about $500 an hour. Expert witnesses charge about $700 an hour. So that's what we do. So, but no, you don't need to. They will have that is their work. So it's like going to a regulatory, do you file your own taxes? No, we file it through an accountant.
Okay.
The accountant does the job for you. So it is helpful, but it is not a requirement. I can file my own taxes directly.
Okay.
But I don't want the headache of IT department. Okay, this is not there and that is not there and that form is not filled and that form is not filled. So it helps.
Okay, since they're experts, they will help.
Yeah. And that's their job. That's their job.
Acha.
But identifying IP is not their job.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Ma'am, shall I take 2 more questions are there?
Ask sir if he's comfortable.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm all
Otherwise-
morning. You guys are in the evening, afternoon. This morning.
Sir, I'm asking a next question, which is given by the audience only. They are asking that please throw some light on the data exclusivity.
Data exclusivity.
Yeah.
Data exclusivity basically comes down, as I believe it, it basically comes down to what is and what is not included in your claim. And number 2 is what is exclusive to the outcome, which means your claim.
Acha.
Generally, data exclusivity, whenever we litigate and or when we talk about it in prosecution, it comes to specifications.
Acha.
Example, when I'm making a formulation, I have made this formulation and then I have 5 or 6 prototype ones. And I have to provide those as examples. Okay. Now, those examples and the data that I provide, that becomes exclusive for the claim that I ultimately get. Now I cannot say that, well, okay, well, this data also includes something else. So that is known as estoppel. I'm stopped from getting outside the exclusive terms. Okay. So that's why we have to be very careful. We don't want to put so much in, and at the same time, we don't want to put so little in specifications. Because those specifications, I did not tell you the link between claim and specifications. Specifications are required to justify a claim. Claim is not required to justify specifications. So you cannot say that C in my description or in my specifications in my patent can be rationalized based on the claim. You cannot do that. But claim, yes, you can. When I say that, well, the formulation contained 5% to 10% of surfactant, I'm just taking an example, and then I can say that, well, how did that come? Because I have 16 examples which show that they are all between 5 and, or maybe 3 and 15, but preferably I'm going to only say 5 to 10. So the claim is justified based on specifications. Specifications cannot be justified by the claim.
Okay.
So the exclusivity is not on the claim, data in the claim, because very little data is in the claim anyway. It is the specifications or whatever you disclose in your information disclosure statement, as well as in your description of your invention.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to ask the last question of the question answer forum, that what care should be taken by an inventor once the patent is published?
For what? What is to be taken for what purpose?
What care should be taken by an inventor regarding the patent once it is published?
Once it is granted.
Yeah, granted.
Well, we talked about protection. How do you protect?
That's what.
One question is there.
The key is how, let's look at a couple of considerations. This professor, he had no clue. The first example that I gave, the lawyer had to come and tell him that, you protect your patent because you're entitled for this. This is what should not happen in our case.
Achha.
Number 2, the second consideration on the other side, how does industry protect their IPR? In India, we are at a very low level. Currently, there is a lot of activity in gaining patents, but there is very little in terms of protecting. There are very few patents that are being challenged and or the inventors or companies are suing other companies for infringement. In US, what happens is, at least I'll give the pharma sector, whenever you file an ANDA, the inventor has to get, by law, they have to get a notification, which is known as para 4, where they have to be notified by the generic company that we are submitting an ANDA, which is a willful act, where I am expecting a revenue return, which is gainful gains from, which is money from this submission. But I also know that my product is equivalent to the inventor product. However, in this notification, I am proving that on these grounds, why my product is not infringing the claimed patent, or if the inventor does prove or does think that in spite of my rationale for non-infringement, even if they feel that still my product is infringing, then I have another set of rationale where I am going to prove that your patent is invalid to begin with.
Okay.
So the protection that we have to go for is both ways. One is generic companies should prove that they are not infringing. And if the inventor says that, well, fine, but I still believe that you're infringing, even they are going through your rationale, then I come with a second attack saying that, well, if that is the case, then I can also prove that your patent claim is invalid itself. Now, your question coming to the other side, protecting it, we should have the will, intention, as well as a procedure to track who is infringing.
Okay.
For suing them.
But that's a difficult task, sir. I mean, it's.
It is not a. It is a difficult task if we just think about it as an in obscurity, because yes, oh boy, there is this. This is a country of 150 million people, and so on and so forth. So many more than 65,000 pharmaceutical companies. How do I do that? Understood. No problem. But go after at least the primary ones that the products are on the market.
Okay.
So fun, a few of them go to court, everybody will get in line.
Okay. Okay. Set an example.
Before generic law in 1984 in US, companies were still suing other companies without a generic law.
Okay.
So that's how it should be. And number two is we should have a policy for that. Unfortunately, we don't have a policy.
In India.
In India, we don't have a policy on non-infringement. We don't have a policy on evaluating validity.
Okay.
We are using somebody else's arguments in other cases as our arguments and applying them. It's a very, very strange situation. But maybe through that learning will be there, and hopefully ultimately this will come on board. Because I think the first frenzy is still getting this IP, and then the second frenzy which is being promoted is, convert it to money making, convert it to products, convert it to money making thing. Every single patent cannot be and will not be and should not be looked at as money making. Invention. Yes, there is an element required if commercial intent, commerciality of the invention. Doesn't mean commercialization of the invention. So when I write an application, when I state a claim for my invention, I can say that, well, yes, this has commercial potential. It doesn't mean that I'm going to commercialize it. It does not require that either.
Okay.
Any product that is on the market, any electronic product that you pick, there are multiple inventions that have ultimately given that product. Every single invention is not patented, is not commercialized. I just gave you the example yesterday about the cell phone.
Yes.
Apple has over 1,100 patents for this cell phone that you hold in hand. Nobody can copy that. But there are no 1,100
commercialized products. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. So we are in early stages where we still have to emerge and we have to learn and we have to grow through that, which will take time. But we have to keep in mind that there are other things than just getting a patent and pushing it for commercialization. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you, sir. So thank you for giving your valuable insights on competitive at counterproductive rationale challenge in gaining and protecting IPR. Sir, I'm sure that your address will help a lot in understanding the aspects like how to look at any project done by the student having IP or not, what is the role of scientist and technologist in the IPR, what is techno-legal journey, and what are the reasons for low IPR awareness in India. As well, thank you so much for sir for awareing us the difference between worthwhile and worthy, as well as non-patentable and patentable things or ideas around us in a very simple way. Once again, thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to thank once again today's distinguished speakers, Dr. Anand Paradkar sir and Dr. Umesh Bankar sir, for making an excellent presentation and making this e-symposium a very meaningful, interesting, with thought-provoking and brainstorming sessions. Before putting curtains on the event, I would like to announce that tomorrow we are having e-poster presentation competition at 10:30 a.m. All participants are requested to present on time for this competition. The link for the same will be shared to all. May I now request Professor Vaibhav Shrinkar sir to propose vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you, madam. On the occasion of birthday ceremony of our inspiration Padma Vibhushan, legend in national politics of India, Honorable Sri Sharad Chandraji Pawar Sahib, ex-Agriculture Minister, Government of India. We organized 2 days international e-symposium on emerging trends in IPR. Our most valued invited guest, today's renowned speakers, and all dear participants. It's my great privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Mr. Vaibhav Shedimkar, Head of the Department Pharmacognosy, on behalf of Pune District Education Associations, Seth Govinda Raghunath Sable College of Pharmacy, Saswad, and conveyor of today. Conveyor of today's seminar, our principal, Dr. R.S. Sawan Madam, and coordinator, Mrs. Pradnya Jagtap and Dipali Jagtap Madam, and the entire other teaching and supporting staff. And on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to today's speaker, eminent personality, Dr. Anand Paradkar sir, Professor and Director, Center for Pharmaceutical Engineering Science, School of Pharmacy, University of Bradford, United Kingdom. And Dr. Umesh Bankar sir, Professor of Pharmaceutics, Independent Consultant of IPR in USA, for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. Thank you very much. I'm also very thankful to today's participants for their attendance. Now, here I announces that today's session of symposium is concluded with Pasaidan.
आता विश्वात्मके ये भाग्य तोषो निमज द्यावे पसाय दान हे जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो तया सत्कर्मी रती वाढो भूता परस्परे पडो मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जावो विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्ये वर्षत सकळमंगळी ईश्वरनिष्ठांची मांदियाळी अनवरत भूमंडळी भेट तू भूता चला कल्पतरूंचे आरव चेतना चिंतामणीचे गाव बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषाचे चंद्रमेजे अलांछन मार्तंडसे तापहीन ते सर्वाही सदा सज्जन सोय रे हो तू किंबहुना सर्वसुखी पूर्ण होनीतिहि लोकी भजिजो आदिपुरुषी अखंडित आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये दृष्टादृष्ट विजये होवावे जी येथ म्हणी श्री विश्वेश्वरावो हा होईल दान पसावो येणे वरे ज्ञान देवो सुखिया
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. We will be in touch.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely. Would like to listen to you more actually. Some other time. We'll definitely meet, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to leave. Thank you again. Good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah. Have a good day, sir. Yeah, bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, bye bye.
Hello, shall we stop session?
बीसे सर
हा मॅडम,
कसलं सेशन आहे आता?
आता नाही, सेशन बंद करायचं का म्हटलं मी?
हा ओके
मग फक्त सेशन आहे पण
हा लीव मीटिंग करा.